Hi, this is Wheelock chapter 10, which is on the fourth conjugation. I've joked about the Romans all getting together one day, taking all the verbs in the Latin language and putting them into four buckets. And the first bucket was, of course, the first conjugation. And as we see here, reviewing from the very first chapter of Wheelock, the first conjugation were the long A verbs. That is to say, their infinitive, if you look at laudare, the infinitive of the group of the first verbs that are put in the first bucket, first conjugation bucket, those are infinitives that have a long A in them. And so you'll see laudas, laudat, laudamus, laudatus, laudant. There's an A there in between the kind of engine of the train and the ending of the train. Actually, I suppose that stem vowel is part of the engine, but that's not important right now. So, except for the first person singular, there's the A's throughout. The second conjugation is the long E conjugation. So like monere has a long E in its infinitive, to warn. And so if you look through all of these second declension endings, there are E's throughout. The endings, of course, O-S-T, M-U-S-T-I-S-N-T, that's gold. We've had that throughout. Not hard, right? It was in the very first chapter. Wheelock led with this because it was an easy one. Now, a few chapters back, we had the third conjugation. The third conjugation are the short E's, the wimpy E's, like agere. And so that short wimpy E runs away at the first sign of fear. And so notice we don't have even the E's in most of these endings down here. Agus, agit, it downgraded to an I. Well, okay, the E's not here, I guess I'll come in here. Making that up, of course. So ago is a third conjugation, third bucket verb. Now, welcome to the fourth conjugation. And this is the last one. There are only 4 conjugations in Latin. And so with this chapter, we're done with all the boxes of verbs. It's not to say that there aren't things in the bottom of the boxes that we haven't explored yet. Unfortunately, there are. But the basic chassis, the 4 different kinds of chassis, the long A chassis, the long E chassis, the short E chassis, and now the long I, as in audire. That long I is characteristic of the fourth conjugation. And the I, as you can see, shows up in all the forms of the present active indicative, which is what you're looking at down here. So audio, audis, audit, audimus, auditus, audiunt. And then the imperatives at the bottom. The imperative usually chops the RE off for the singular, and so audi is completely predictable. And then you put a TE on it for the plural. Y'all here, audite. In southern Rome, they said audita. Just kidding. Okay, so audi means you can come. Audita means you all come. I mean here, in this case here, not come. That would be another fourth conjugation verb, wenio. Anyway, so this is hopefully fairly predictable and not very complicated. So let's just all go home. No, wait, there's more. Okay, so the imperfect of these is also pretty predictable. You remember the bom, ba, spot, bomus, bada, spont of the imperfect. The BA is a sign of the imperfect. There's the audi part. It has a long E in between the word and the ending, so to speak, if you want to put it that way, or the tense stuff they put at the end. Now, most of the time you're going from Latin to English anyway, so you don't have to create the form. That's if you're a Latin major or a master's in classical languages, then you may have to take a Latin composition course and have to come up with the Latin. However, most people who study Latin just dip their feet in the water enough to catch a few Latin pitches. And so you don't have to come up with the Latin, you only have to catch it. You're not the pitcher, you're the catcher. And so there's nothing hard to get about the imperfect here. The bom, ba, spot is obviously imperfect if you've gotten that up till now. And then the audi a, you know, what vowel comes at the end before you get the bomb? I mean, you don't really need to know that. You can still tell that this is imperfect. I hope that's true. I consider the imperfect a piece of cake. I hope you do too. Now for the future. Now the future does that A&E thing. So I say A&E is the channel of the future, to help you remember that. It's not so pleasant. I'd rather have the bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitus, bunt, you know, the kind of nice future that we had for the first and second conjugation. But I have seen this A&E thing with the third conjugation. So at least it's not new. I've seen it before. So the A in audiam, and then the E's in audies, audies, audiet, audiamus, audietus, audient. The E's in those tell me that it's future, just like the A tells me it's future in the first person singular. Now, so if you see an A and an E on a verb like this that you know is third or fourth conjugation, then you know it's future. Okay, I hope that helps. Again, you've seen this before with the third conjugation. Now, wouldn't it be nice if the chapter ended there? It pretty much does. I mean, it's kind of like you get the bulk of the chapter, and then you have these little kind of add-on things on the edges. There is one add-on edge thing here, but it's really not that big of a deal. In fact, don't make a big deal out of it. I know I kind of... Now, what is the big deal with those? I have yet to find out what the big deal is with these. Basically, there are some third conjugation verbs that kind of look a little like fourth conjugation verbs. Again, since you're not throwing the pitch, you're just catching it, it's not a big deal. So take copio. Copio looks like a fourth conjugation verb because it has that I before the O. However, the infinitive is capere. Aha, it's actually a third conjugation because it has a short E in the infinitive. It would have had a long I in the infinitive if it was a fourth conjugation verb. Again, knowing the conjugation really doesn't affect the meaning. It doesn't. A present is the same whether it's a third or a fourth conjugation verb. That's a conjugation has to do with how it looks, not what it means. So there's no big, oh, this is profound. There's nothing profound about this. So knowing that it's third or fourth conjugation and so forth is basically about being able to correctly catch forms that Latin throws at you. Now, if you look at the copio here down at the bottom of the page, you'll see that except for the first person singular copio, which, I don't know, it's got a long O there. I can tell it's first person singular. And the third person plural has copiunt. Again, I can tell that's third person plural. And I can tell that that's present. So, what's the big deal here? The ending is intact. The word is intact. I can analyze this thing. It's present, active, indicative, either first person singular or third person plural. And all the other forms, capus, capit, capimus, capitus, they look like other third conjugation forms like ago. Basically, I don't think there's anything to see here. I think you're going to analyze these correctly whether you know what an IO verb of the third conjugation is or not. I think you're just going to get it because the endings are the same, O-S-T, M-U-S-T-I-S-N-T, and you can tell that it's from capio. Copio, I mean. So, yeah, I'm sorry. This isn't that big of a deal. The imperfect of copio looks exactly like the fourth conjugation. Capiebam, capiebas, capiebat, capiebamus. I'm sorry, capiebamus. The accent always goes on the second to last syllable if it's long. Capiebamos, capiebatis, capiebant. Again, this looks exactly like audio, but you don't really even have to know that, do you? Because you know bam, bas, bad is imperfect, and you can see that it's from copio. Life's good. The future is going to do that A&E thing again. But, again, we've seen that with ago in the third conjugation, and we've seen that with audio in the fourth conjugation. The fact that copio does it is no big deal. So there's the A in copiam. There's the E in copies, copiet, copiemus, copietus, copient. A&E is the channel of the future. I know this is third conjugation because its infinitive is capere with a short E. It's future, it's active, it's indicative, and okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. This just isn't that interesting. And I believe with that we come to the end of chapter 10. I can't think of anything else in this chapter. I could go through the vocabulary, but I won't. And so I think if I flip the next button, it's going to say chapter 11, which it did. So we're done. Have a nice day.